Hey guys, this is Yanis, and today we're in beautiful London. I'm here with Ozzie, and what we're going to talk about today is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's an amazing book. It's used from entrepreneurs, from businessmen, from sports, from pickup artists, and actually it's one of the books that Ozzie has put some of its virtues and its fundamentals into his bootcamp. So my question is, first of all, why do you recommend this book to your students? And secondly, how this book is related with fear technology.
Oh my God! Well, this is Sun Tzu. Was one of the guys in ancient China that won the most battles. So this is a guy that was hired when they were losing. Yes. So this is a guy that you call. It'll be like when you're dying and you call a doctor to save your life. This is the guy that the emperors would call when they were losing, right? So he developed an act for fighting like lost causes and winning. Like people will be surprised how much he won. He won the wars with inferior numbers. So he was famous for facing an army of 100,000 with 20,000 and winning. Crazy stuff like that. And people wonder how he did it. So he wrote a book about it. And how he won the battles, and it's actually a bunch of like rules of engagement, more or less, how to engage in battle. And this is the guy that, for the first time in history, well, one of the guys that exploited the most fear. Was a guy that used one of the first guys to use fear as a motivator, not as a paralyzing force. So he used it as a motivator to get his soldiers to go to battle and be more motivated through fear. And he was the first guy to discover that fear was a powerful force, that it could make people fight better, fight more efficiently, and also have what he called tunnel vision, like they really focus.
Right.
They really focus. And it was discovered recently that these tactics were used in the Vietnam War. In the Vietnam War, they discovered that the generals on the Vietnamese army were using Sun Tzu tactics.
And this is written like 1 million years ago.
Before Christ. Yeah, it was in ancient China, and Vietnam War was fought using this book. Many wars have been fought using the principles in this book. This is the book that's being used by most CEOs. This is one of the most quoted books in history. And the simple explanation is that he was the first one to use fear as a motivator, as an empowering force rather than a disempowering force. Mm-hmm. In our game, that guys get disempowered by fear. So they have these feelings in their body, their symptoms in their bodies, and it disempowers them. They don't know how to use fear properly. They don't know how to channel fear into action, which is one of the principles that I'm using in this book, is to channel fear into action. Into being productive rather than unproductive.
So that's exactly why you put your students into the most difficult sets in order to build their fears, and then
channel that fear into the set. Also, the second principle of the book is that you only perform when you have to.
Yeah.
And this is part of the reason why I put my students in front of a difficult set, because believe it or not, in the most difficult sets, that's where you're going to do your best performance. Because you have to. You have no choice. If you don't do your best performance there, you're gonna look really bad. Right? So I'm famous for doing that with guys. I put them in the most difficult sets. I put myself in the most difficult sets. You've been with me in the field for the last 6-7 months, and we only approach the toughest and the most difficult. Yeah. And I know at the beginning of the boot, when you were coming out with me in boot camp, you were like, "How the fuck we're gonna do that?"
The first time I was like, "This is not possible. Why the fuck are you doing it?"
Yeah.
But then it looks so normal, so it's so amazing.
But you see a transformation of guys, right? In 3 days. Like, for example, today we just finished a boot camp.
In 2 days.
In 2 days, you see a big transformation because there's a big power in fear. It's a big transformational power in fear. That's what I'm using when I'm doing that stuff.
And that's also during the power drills and during the daytime and stuff. That's exactly the same thing.
I run. People think that fear technology is only for clubs, right? But people don't know that I also run daytime boot camps. And I use exactly the same principles. The same principle can be used in daytime, it can be used in your job, it can be used to improve your skills in football, in any sport, in any skill-related activity. Fear technology is useful. It's gonna take your game to the next level.
Right. So this is a great book.
Great book, I recommend it. You know that the language is kind of poetic. It kind of like turns guys off, like it throws guys off. And I always say, you know, if you don't want to read the book, go to YouTube and watch the documentaries. It's like 20 documentaries or 30 documentaries about this book. It would explain everything, what it means, and even give you backstories about Sun Tzu and his personality. So.
Yeah, I've seen it on the Discovery Channel. I think it's like 2 hours or something. It's really fast to see. So yeah,
if you go to YouTube, you have hundreds of them. Like you can watch, you know. It's also one of the most quoted books in history. That's what they say.
So yeah, guys, make sure to check out this book. And if you're interested to see the real art of war in an in-field pickup bootcamp, I'll put a link in the description with RSD Ozzie's events. So it would be good to sign up on this as well. Thank you very much for watching.
Boom! Check it out. Awesome.